Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So today we're just getting breakfast together before anything. I'm just slicing up a mango here and a banana, and I'm going to combine that and put that into a bowl. Now this is good for probably a day or two in the fridge if you're not able to finish all of this. It's such a good flavor combination. You can add in like mandarin oranges too, or coconut, and it's really good. Now I'm just going to make some Earl Grey tea. So I've got my little tea steepers. I got these off of Amazon. These are so handy when you drink a lot of loose leaf tea. And first up, I am just going to add in some black tea. You can get loose leaf tea, or if you can only find tea bags, that's fine. You can just rip it open and pour it into the container, like so. And a lot of those contain a lot of microplastics anyway, so if you can avoid using those, it's best. A lot of companies are switching to better products now, though. It never hurts to check. So I'm just adding in some cinnamon stick. And then here I have some chamomile I'm almost out of. I just add like 2 or 3 into this mixture. And then last but not least is lavender. I'd say probably like half a teaspoon maybe, if that. So I'm just going to have that ready, and now we're going to steep this for about 5 minutes. This is dependent on your flavor, of course. If you want a lighter tea, less time, a darker tea, more time. So once that's done, you can just set it to the side, and now I'm going to add in some honey. If you're able to use raw honey, that's better because it has more benefits, but filtered honey is perfectly fine too. And then now I'm just going to add in some half and half. So today I'm going to be planting some cucumber seeds. So I have all of my cucumber varieties here, so I'm going to pick and choose just a few. It is actually still a little bit early. My last frost isn't for another couple of weeks. But with the weather being so warm, I think that I can get by with going ahead and planting the cucumbers because they do prefer a little bit cooler temperatures. Once that weather starts getting really hot, they die off pretty quickly. And you may notice it's a little bit different with your squash. Most of them really appreciate the heat. So I'm going to go ahead and plant these and take a gamble and hope that it pays off. So what I'm going to show you here today is, this is actually my favorite that I have tried so far. This is a pickle bush variety, and I have one seed left in here. So we'll see if that germinates. If not, oh well. And then next I have a few packets of straight 8 cucumbers. So I'll probably plant maybe one of those, and then the next 2 are pickling cucumbers. I have the Bayet Alpha cucumber and the Boston pickling cucumber. And then last but not least is the China Jade cucumber. So I think that I'm actually going to wait and plant this one when I have the actual garden in, because I know that it takes a lot of space. And then, so I'm actually just going to round it down. So I'm going to do the pickle bush, and then I'm going to try the Bayet Alpha cucumbers. These look like they're going to be really good for doing like baby cucumbers or baby pickles. All right, so this is the bed with all of the marigold seedlings that have popped up. They are just everywhere throughout here, and these cucumber varieties take about 50 to 60 days, I would say, to put out fruit. So we will see how that goes. I think that it will be a good match. Maybe by the time that these get super established, these cucumbers will be done with. So we will test out this combination this year and see if we will continue to plant them in the same way. So here's my one pickle bush seed. I'm going to plant it right here. And I'm just putting these about a 1/4 inch under the dirt. And then next we're going to do the Bayet Alpha. So I've got 6 seeds here, and I'm just going to plant these throughout. When it comes to cucumbers and melons and things, you can do those in hills, or if you're in an area like this, you can do one seed throughout. Okay, so I'm going to put these 6 seeds throughout the bed here. And you may see that I have mulch in this bed. I'm just moving the mulch out of the way and then just kind of pressing the seed down into the soil. If you leave the mulch over top of the seed, there is a good chance that the seed will not have the energy to push that mulch out of the way, especially if it's a larger mulch. It just won't be able to escape. Okay, so that is it for all the cucumber seeds that I'm going to sow. And now I'm going to grab some basil seeds actually and crumble these over as well. So 1 second. Okay, so these are actually basil seeds that I collected earlier this year. So this is a mixture of Genovese, licorice, and cinnamon basil, I do believe. I'm just going to take all of these flowers and just crumble them. These actually still smell so good. Okay, and it is starting to rain, so I'm just going to leave all of this be and let it get watered in all by itself. All right, so that was the basil and the cucumbers planted in with the marigolds. Now it is actually starting to rain, so I'm going to run to the grocery store and grab some stuff. I want to get some lunch, and then also I want to get stuff for lemonade. So I want to get organic lemons so that I can keep the peels from those, as well as oranges for the peels, and I want to save them for stuff like Earl Grey tea and all that. Okay, so I will see you when I get back. Okay, so it has now been a couple of hours. I've been back from the store, got everything put up and cleaned, had pizza for lunch. So now we're going to go ahead and jump in with our citrus here. So I was able to get organic lemons and oranges. So the lemons, we've got a bag of 5 here, and these were $4. So for these, all I'm going to do is just cut these in half, juice them, and then dehydrate the peels. And then for the oranges, so this bag is normally $8, but they have them on sale for $5. So we were in luck today. And then there's 9 oranges in here. So I don't know if I'll use all of these today, but I have a few different things that I want to do here. So I want to juice some for orange juice. I'm going to dehydrate some of the peels left over from that process and just leave them be. And then I also want to dehydrate some slices of orange too. So I will see how many of the oranges I get through, and if there's anything else that I can think of. I thought of doing like some marmalades and stuff, but I might hold off and just kind of keep it simple. This is my first time processing a ton of citrus, but well, this isn't a lot of citrus. This is very much a small batch, but I haven't messed with the citrus too much other than just slicing it and dehydrating it. So. So first we're going to start with the lemons. So I've already washed them, and now I'm just going to cut these in half, and here's my little juicer. So we're getting close to this top here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this last lemon in here before dumping it into a jar. You know, like a smart person probably would have done that first instead of like trying to risk overflow everything. But you know what? I like to do things the hard way. It looks like we're getting to about a cup of lemon juice. This last half done. I'm not certain what I'm going to do with the lemon pulp. I might end up tossing it because there's a lot of seeds mixed in with this, and I think it might be a little bit tough to untangle them from all of the pulp that's in here. So I'm going to set this to the side and think about it, but it's probably going to go in the compost. Okay, so I'm going to put the juice from that last lemon in with this. So next, for the lemonade, we'll go ahead and get that together so I can get it in the refrigerator. I'm going to grab 3 cups of water and about 1 cup of sugar. Now, with the sugar, you can do sugar-free. It very much depends on taste with that. But that's a good place to start, and so let me get that together, and we're going to put it on the stove top because we want to warm up the water to dissolve the sugar. Right, now I'm going to dump the sugar in. I'm going to go for about 3/4 to a cup of sugar in here. I'm just doing about measurements. There we go. And then now we're just going to stir this together and do not walk away from it. We don't want it boiling. We're just wanting the water to heat up enough to where the sugar dissolves. I do have it on a low heat. And this won't take but a minute or two. So you can kind of see how it's got like the white at the bottom. It'll become completely translucent once we're done. I've got my sugar water here. Now I'm just going to combine it into my jar. And it's that easy. So this is still just a tiny bit warm, so I'm going to leave it on the counter and let it cool completely, and then I'm going to put the top on it and put it in the refrigerator. But I do have to taste it to make sure that I don't need to add anything real quick. So I'm just going to use a spoon. Yeah, that's a good recipe. This one turned out. Now we're going to move on to the oranges. So I've got 5 of them washed here that I'm going to be working with. I have 4 more, so we'll see. I think for either 3 or 4 of them, I'm going to just juice them and use the rinds, and then the other parts, the other 1 or 2, I'm going to slice them. So we will start with the juicing and see how that goes, and then we'll determine for sure. And by the way, 100% I recommend getting one of these. It will make your life so much easier. And a serrated knife, if you don't have sharp knives, works best for cutting the citrus. This is definitely an arm workout. So for the orange juice, if you like it, you could absolutely leave the pulp in. Same with the lemonade, really. So just empty the pulp into this jar for the second time. And on this note, I did see some recipes saying that you can use the pulp to make like fruit roll-ups, like dehydrator fruit roll-ups. So I may give that a try. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to look up some more recipes and see if I want to do that tonight. So again, I'm just going to keep sitting this to the side, and I may or may not do something with that. So that'll be a test recipe, and I'll let y'all know how it goes if I end up doing something with it. Okay, so this is our fresh squeezed orange juice. And on my camera, it looks a lot more yellow than it is. I feel like this is super orange. This is like a tangerine orange color, I would say, or a mango orange. That's more accurate. Now we're just going to continue on. I've got to empty out the pulp like every 1.5 oranges, maybe, if not more. Probably every other is more accurate. Jeez. So I can empty the pulp. Alrighty, so from 5 oranges, we've got about 1.5 cups, just over 1.5 cups of orange juice here. So I'm just going to leave it at that for the orange juice, stick it in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to get this cleaned up and we're going to do some slices really quick, and then we're going to move on to the dehydrator part. Now I'm just going to grab like just 1 orange to slice up because I want to test the orange slices in Earl Grey tea versus just peel. So let me wash this and then we're going to slice it and then we'll be ready. So to slice it, what we can do is you can take the ends off if you'd like, just like this. Or you can start cutting whole slices and have like the orange on that as well. It doesn't matter. Now, when we are dehydrating slices of stuff, we don't want to do it too thick. So this is probably about 1/4 inch, I'd say. You don't want to do it much larger than that. The thinner they are, the quicker that they will dehydrate. And with all of the juices in the slices, it does take a little bit longer to dehydrate than the peels. I actually want to cut these in half as well. And you can use the peels. These are organic oranges, so I'll probably use this only for edible stuff because it's more expensive. But you can definitely get like regular oranges or the organic, whatever you want to do, and use them for simmer pots. They're so great in that. I love to do like the oranges, cloves. What else goes in there? Like cranberries and cinnamon. That is the best simmer pots. You can also do like orange and rosemary. You can do the same with lemons, of course. And then I'm just going to cut the little green stem off. Okay, so let me get my dehydrator trays and we'll get all of this laid out. Okay, so I've got my dehydrator trays here, and real quick before we move on to putting everything on the dehydrator trays, I just wanted to point out I'm going to use this pulp for like an orange chicken marinade. So I'll probably just freeze this and use it as needed, but not in the jar. You can freeze stuff in a jar. It just needs to be like a wide mouth jar like this. I think I've seen something to where you don't want to freeze it in jars that have like the lip like this, because as this stuff goes up and expands, that's where it's going to cause breakage as it tries to expand past that point, and it doesn't have room. So I have not experimented with freezing too much in glass yet, but maybe one day. For now, I'm just using freezer bags. Okay, so let me just start laying this stuff out. We'll start with the orange slices. And when these come out of the dehydrator, I may end up cutting these up into smaller pieces. I'll kind of just have to see how I feel about it. They'll probably go into pieces, something more like this, so that they will go down into my tea container. But if I cut them up like that now, it's really likely that I'm going to squeeze all of the juice and stuff out. So we'll just leave it for now and see how it goes. I'm going to stick this tray over here. And for the peels, what we're going to do is just kind of break them like that. Make sure it has all of the opportunity that it can for airflow. You can even cut it up into smaller pieces. I'm just going to leave them whole for now. Or tear them in half. That works too. The smaller pieces that you have something torn up into, usually the quicker it will dehydrate. So this is going to take longer to dehydrate than this. So that's another thing. Whenever you are dehydrating, you can try and make sure that everything is sized evenly. If it's not, just come through and pull out the stuff that's done first and then leave the other stuff on the tray. And with the peels of lemons and oranges, there are so many uses. You can make like lemon or orange peel candy. You can use them in cleaning products for scents. You can make tinctures. Both of these are really high in vitamin C. Okay, last one in the dehydrator. Over here at my dehydrator, show you our trays. That's all that's in here. So I'm going to set these to 135, and they're going to have to go between 6 and 8 hours for the peels, and for the slices, they can go anywhere from 12 to 14, but that is very variable. So I cut the slices in half, hoping that it would also cut the time that it needs to dehydrate in half, but we shall see. So I'll just have to flip those and kind of test them. So I'll keep you updated on that. So you may hear the dehydrator running in the background. Sorry if it's too loud. I think it should be fine. But now what I'm going to do is actually just put both of these pulps into the freezer, and I'm going to use them in marinades. So I've got the orange pulp that I'm going to freeze here. So I'm just going to write on my baggies what they are and the date. And then I'm just going to take these out and like use them as needed. So I'm going to try and put this in here flat, and I'll use this in marinades for like chicken or jerky, things like that, to where I don't have to blend this up because there's seeds mixed in both of these, and if you blend the seeds in, it'll make it bitter. Right. So I'm just going to flatten this out the best that I can. And then for chicken, I can just take, whenever I want to use as a marinade, I'll take and scoop out like my orange or lemon pulp, and then add in salt and pepper and garlic or whatever else I'm going to be putting in whatever kind of chicken. Okay. And now we're going to do the lemon, which I don't even have half as much, and it's a little bit more liquidy, but it will still be fantastic. Okay. And then whenever we're done marinating our chicken, we just need to make sure that there are no seeds stuck to the actual piece of chicken. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of seeds in there. Can y'all see all the little seeds? That's okay. We'll see how that goes. Right. So what I'm going to do now is just take and pop both of these in the freezer and try to remember to grab them out next time I make chicken. Alright, so it is later on in the day, and I just took a video of what everything is looking like, all of our citrus peels. Everything's drying out nicely. It's been about 3 or 4 hours now, so they're starting to get just slightly crunchy, but they've still got a ways to go. Now, I did remember that I wanted to make a charcuterie board this weekend, and I would prefer to have some sourdough crackers with mine. I have regular crackers for him, but I like the sourdough crackers, so I'm going to get my yeast starter going again, and I'll show you how I do that real quick. So it's actually super easy. I'm just going to take like 3 spoonfuls of flour and then mix in some spring water to give it like a thick pancake consistency. I'm going to do like 4 spoonfuls. These are small. Okay. So I've got approximately a cup of flour in here. Now I'm just going to mix in water a little bit at a time until I get the consistency that I want. So that is too thick. So we're going to add just a splash of water, and it should get us where we want. Just a splash more. Okay, here we go. And then I'm just going to take and set a lid over top of it, but I do not put the ring over mine because since your sourdough starter is fermenting, it does put off gases. And of course, I'm in here like every day releasing the gases, but in case it were to rise up above this, it'll just push the lid off rather than having too much going on in the glass. But we're not at that point yet. Tomorrow we should see it get up to here if it does rise at all yet. All right, well, I will update you guys on that tomorrow. For now, I gotta clean up this mess I just made, and we will see you back later tonight for the rest of that. And I did actually film the exit in my other outfit, so it'll pop back to my other outfit for that anyway. Bye. Okay, so it's been about 10 hours, and these are very hard. Oops. They're done. So I'm just gonna put these into some jars. Alright, y'all, so I think that we're going to wrap up the video right there today. As the peels go, you will know that they are dehydrated because instead of bending, they will snap whenever they are completely dehydrated. So just be sure that they are all snapping whenever you take them out, because if you go and you store just one that is not fully dehydrated, it can mull and spoil your entire batch. So anyway, we will move on from that. Be safe with your food endeavors, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye!